What is something we should enjoy while it lasts? Friendships. As I get older, late 20s, I see a lot of friendships fading away due to marriages, kids, etc. I'm happy for all of them, but it is sad to see people drop off the face of the earth once they settle down. If you're one of the last ones to not have a family, the ones that are in familial bonds generally try to make a comeback in their mid to late 30s, because that's when they usually have older kids and notice that you're no longer as involved in their life. Takes about 5 years post last child. It's almost astonishing to me how much they want to hang out now, given that the previous decade norm was that they didn't want to. Having your teeth. This sounds like a personal threat. Edit. I awoke to gold. Thank you. Just had all of my upper teeth pulled. Agreed. Take good care of them. Stability. One day something will happen that will shake up your life, whether it is a death in the family, someone moving away, sudden job loss, etc. Enjoy your stable life while it lasts. This is the ducking truth. Going through a divorce now, and it's amazing how much things have changed in the last month. Here I'm sitting alone in the house I've lived in with my wife and son for 15 years, while they live somewhere else. Currently trying to get the motivation to start moving things to storage, so I can sell the house and live with my parents for a while. Starting over at 40 is a trip. Time with your parents or other close loved ones. My dad is in his early 60s and just had a kidney transplant. The whole surgery, I couldn't stop wondering if I'd seen my dad for the last time. Luckily he pulled through, but shit is terrifying. It's literally the worst. My grandpa passed away a few months ago at 93. Great man, but I just remember talking to my dad, who is 66, in the hospital about everything before the doctors started preparing us for the inevitable pain management instead of life-saving measures. My grandpa seemed pretty good, all things considered. I just remember my dad saying that he didn't think my grandpa was ready. When he did pass, my dad was the last one to speak at the funeral and stuff, and he was pretty good the whole day. But right when he was about to finish his speeches, when he finally broke down and started tearing up while saying that my grandpa was his best friend. That is the saddest thing I've ever seen. And I love my dad, and I worry about how I'll take it when he passes. Your knees. Currently on an exercise bike at physical therapy. Life is great till you can't stand straight. Had bad knees for most of my teenage and early 20s. Had meniscus removed from both. Started doing barbell squats, edit, and deadlifts with proper form. Knees have never been better and can do hikes and anything athletic without any issues whatsoever. Keep your quads, glutes, calves and hams strong and your knees will thank you. Breathing through both nostrils. Fun fact, most of the air always comes through just one nostril, even when they are both clear. Never been able to breathe through both except for rare 30-second spurts that happen a couple times a year. One is always plugged. God, I wanna breathe. The city of Venice. Curiously, I saw a documentary recently that argues the millions of tourists visiting Venice is killing the city. The population is now half of what it was 50 years ago because everyone wants to make things Airbnbs and jacking up the rent, so normal Venetians can't afford to live there anymore. As a result, the city is closing services in the old town, like the schools and hospitals, which accelerates the decline. At the current rate it's decreasing. No one will actually live in Venice within a decade or two, and it will just be a Disneyland. And honestly, as someone who has been to Venice, and thus contributed to the problem, I was amazed at how crowded it was even in friggin' October. Privacy. I feel like in 10 years or so there's going to be so much technology that no one is going to have privacy. I had to register a name, phone number and email address just to set up and use my new universal remote. The app had you select devices you own from a list and it really seemed unnecessary to have to sign into the app. Took longer to register and sign in than to actually set up. A while back privacy was a hot topic on Reddit and someone had mentioned the information you wouldn't care to hide could potentially be some of the most damaging. I wonder what my remote purchase and choice of devices to pair it with looks says about me. Your parents and grandparents. Edit. Thanks people for the Gildenplatz. Go ahead and call your parents or grandparents just to tell them hello and check in on what's going on with them. I might add, ask your grandparents about their younger lives, what they did. If they are immigrants, ask them about what it was like moving here. By the time you are old enough to be curious about their history, they are gone. The few weeks where the toothpaste is actually full, after that you have to squeeze for a month or two. You know when you use Aquafresh and that first squeeze has the perfect stripes, and it looks like a commercial. After that first squeeze it's never the same. Every person and relationship you've ever had, there's an inevitable end to all of them, so hold them dear while you can. It sucks how overnight, the person you live with, spend the majority of your time with, and maybe even have kids with suddenly becomes a stranger. The energy of your youth. You keep putting things off in your youth like travel, but it's physically more difficult as you age. Go out and do things while you're young enough and healthy enough to do so. I want to travel more than anything right now, but I can't afford to at all. Ridiculous subsidies. Uber and Lyft rides are currently priced in order to gain market share. Once they have enough market power, the profit machine will be turned on, and we will have equal or higher prices as to what they were before. Likely with the drivers still making the same crappy percentage. Being single. It's amazing to find someone worth being with, but learning to be single and appreciating the simplicity of it is a virtue. I feel like this is one of those things that resets every time you enter a long relationship, let's say at least 1 year. Last year I broke up with my ex and quickly started looking for other relationships, but didn't take the time off to be single for a while. I guess all this time I was just trying to take my mind off different things, but right now I ended up alone, missing my XOFC, and I just feel like I forgot how to handle the whole situation. I feel lost for the moment, but I guess it's part of regaining that virtue you're talking about. Internet freedom. I can picture in my mind a world without war, a world without hate, and I can picture us attacking that world because they'd never expect it. Jack Handey. Streaming services. It used to just be Netflix had everything. Then Hulu and Amazon Prime entered the market and fractured the content. HBO and Yata Bread followed soon after. Now Disney is entering. It's gonna go right back to the way it was during cable TV, but now you have to pay for each channel. I won't. Fuck that. I do Netflix and Hulu. If it gets to split up more than it is now, then the 7 seas I shall sail. Kids being young. I was once getting my toddler son ready to leave my parents' house, and I said, I can't wait till he can tie his own shoes. My mother stopped me right there and told me never to wish the time away with your children. Savor every stage, because before you know it, that wish for them to grow up comes true. Apparently, bananas. Bananas are all basically clones, and we already, essentially, lost the previous banana from our typical diet, the Gros Michel, because of near extinction. We've only really found one more banana species in Madagascar, and it's been labeled as inedible. Context. Sneaky edit. There are lots of different varieties as well as breeds of banana, all with different challenges and flavors, but the most common, by a large margin, the Cavendish, is notably fragile and could be nearly or completely wiped out like the Gros Michel before it. I was talking to a friend about banana republics, how weird it is that we started a war and dominated a country for bananas. Like you think there'd be some grander design. Nope, just bananas. Her response, I love bananas. The current golden age of peace. We are living in a bizarre time in history, where technological progress is off the charts and the major world powers haven't had an open conflict with each other in 70 plus years. If history is any model for the future, this is not a sustainable situation. Your nose being nice and empty. You never know what an absolutely awesome thing it is to be able to breathe freely through your nose until you have just the worst cold and haven't smelled anything in a week. The ability to lay down in a bed. I broke my back about a year ago and had to sleep for 6-ish months in a recliner because I couldn't lay down flat. I only recently was able to lay down flat again on a bed and I will never take it for granted again. Fish. We are way overfishing our rivers and oceans. At this rate, we are expected to deplete our natural fish supply in 30 years. Edit. A lot of people are mentioning enjoy it while it lasts. better eat up and exhaust the supply faster. That's not really what I'm getting at. As the wild fish supply disappears, the demand for farm-raised fish, the only kind you'll be able to find, will increase and the price will go up a lot. So perhaps it would be more accurate to say, enjoy affordable farm-raised fish while it's still affordable. Or maybe since there's no hope for wild-caught fish anyway, eat up. The honeymoon phase of a relationship. Or you can just be an emotional douchebag who hops around relationships chasing that feeling, leaving a trail of broken hearts and wallets along the way. This comment has nothing to do with you, Lina. Bitch.